I'm here with Indy, one of our finalists for the Queen of the Hill series. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, part of the Queen of the Hill series is we highlight all of our competitors, especially those that were able to make it to the finale. And today we're doing Indy. And go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, Indy, for everyone to know.
Hi, as you know, I'm Indy or Indenyal. My name is Naija Cologne, but Indenyal is kind of like a pun off my name. You know, I love puns. Um,
Are you like a pun person? Are you like the type that are
oh
just
my
like.
goodness, I love puns. Don't get me started. Like I love great corny jokes. If I have an opportunity to tell a corny joke, I will do it, and everybody will hate me for it. So yes, so it makes sense that my name gamer tag is just nothing but a big pun.
Oh my goodness, that's actually really cool because everybody has like their origin story when it comes to their tags. And I know that when like I was first introduced to you, I was like in denial. What is going on? And then the
Yeah.
pun. So that's really awesome. So who's your favorite character in Soul Calibur? First, how long have you also been into the FGC, and how long have you been into Soul Calibur? And who's your favorite character from the series?
So let's just say Soul Calibur's been a big part of my life. Like, when I was a baby, there was a picture of me, playing with the Dreamcast, for like, and Soul Calibur 1 was on it. Like, my dad has a picture of it somewhere. He's like, he swears by it, like, oh no, don't let him tell you, like, you started it too. You started it 1. There's proof. I have proof. So he'll always tell me that. But like, the first Soul Calibur game I played was 2, and I was hooked ever since. And that was when I was like 4 years old, right? um, so yeah, I've been a part of the series for like a long time. Competing wise, Soul Calibur 6 is like the first Soul Calibur game I've been competing in, and I've started since the pandemic started, so like about a year, I'd say.
Really?
Give or take. Yeah, I'm really new. But like love Calibur, and I didn't discover the whole like FGC, like the whole esports aspect to it with like people like playing and like tournaments until like I'd say around, for Soul Calibur specifically, I say like 2019. Like,
Wow. So can I just be real, like straight up honest with you? It feels like
of
you.
course.
It feels like your gameplay is way longer than that.
Oh, but I've been playing Soul Calibur since I was a baby. So like, I should play 2, and I've been playing all of the series ever since. So I'm pretty familiar with like the lore, the cast, and everything. And obviously, my favorite character is none other than Cassandra Alexandra. Uh, I love her gameplay. I think she's really spunky. I think she's really flashy, and I don't know. I just like I think I when I was small, it was like, oh wow, she's so cool and confident. I want to be that, like So like, I think she's awesome. So.
I know that when I've like edited your matches, especially this past week, because we had a lot of Cassandra gameplay from you, in week 2 of our qualifiers, and probably one of my favorite moments to edit is when she does the super that she's like about to punch you, and then I think she goes into like the
Oh,
yeah,
is her shield glowing? That like with like
yes.
her divine force. Oh, that's my favorite super in the game. It's like she goes like all Captain America Endgame on the end. It's like so. It's like she plays ping pong with them. She's playing ping pong with their face and her shield, and it's I think it's great. Like you really feel like, yeah, I got you with it. Like, it's awesome.
It's probably one of my favorite moments to see. I know we did get to see like the full effect of it in this past weekend, and like just kind of like talking to you even throughout both the series and seeing you compete, you definitely have like that spunky vibe for Cassandra and while you're competing, and it's just been really awesome and super hype to see. I kind of wanted to ask you now that I actually have you here. Some of the viewers that have seen the tournaments, especially when you're competing, they do something called exclamation boost. Can you go into a little bit about what exactly
Oh
that
my god.
is?
Um, so if you watch like Father Ramon's stream.
Mm-hmm.
He sometimes does giveaways, and like the Twitch game, like marbles, where like there's like a
Mm-hmm.
random generator, and like you know subscribers and like anybody watching in Twitch chat could like put their name in, and they play marbles, and like whoever wins is like randomly generated and all that. There was a whole thing on it that was like an option where it's like if you press like exclamation point boost, if you put that in the chat, you go faster. And I don't think that was really real. I don't know if it was like a setting that you had to turn on, or like if it
Mm-hmm.
was real or not. But if you for giveaways, there were like free sweaters, like free t-shirts, and I wanted it, so I kept, and I was a mod.
Mm-hmm.
So usually in Twitch chat, if you try putting the same thing in like twice, they'll be like, hey, you gotta wait 30 seconds, you're going way too fast. So I was like, I'm a mod in his chat, so I was just spamming it like like not exclamation point boost boost boost. And everybody was like, you're crazy. And so when I first competed in like um I think it was Boom's tournament, the Queen of the Ring,
Mm-hmm.
before the Queen of the Hill series.
Yeah.
It was my first time being in like a tournament setting for like all caliber girls. I'm like, I really wanted to do well. So I guess like the whole group that was like rooting for me used like exclamation point boost as like a battle cry, and I fell in love with it. I thought like, and it's in my tag now. Like I use boost.
That is
Everything.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
actually
it's
so cool.
yeah, it's really great. Like whenever I see that, I put a smile on my face. So.
Well, I can tell you for sure, a lot of the people in Twitch chat are definitely boosting you. So I know you mentioned that recently it's when you're starting to like come out and actually compete.
Hmm.
Now, this question's more on offlines because obviously, we've been dealing with between offline and online with the whole pandemic situation. So I wanted to go a little bit into sort of your offline experience, if you've had any. Just tell me a little bit about it. Like, what's been your favorite memory or event?
So I'll
Yeah.
tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, are you? Can I answer? Like,
Yeah,
are you
yeah,
still
go for it.
going?
No, no, you're
Okay, I'm
good.
sorry. So I don't really have a lot of offline experience.
What?
Yeah, like the first time I've had like really offline experience with like competing and all that was like with NLBC, the first NLBC monthly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I started watching NLBC like back in like 2019. Like I found them on YouTube, and I thought it was awesome to just see like people playing Caliber. And then when I realized it was like in New York, I was like, wait, are you serious? Like this has just been underneath my nose the entire time.
What?
um, so I decided to go to the monthly because that's when I was like able to go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you have to realize like being like a 21-year-old girl like who plays video games and talk about like, yo, I love Soul Calibur, you're gonna get a lot of people that are like, what is that game, like have no idea what you're talking about. So like I never really had someone to talk about the series with, so to find like this small community in the city that like knows everything about Calibur, loves everything about Calibur, the characters, the moves, the fighting style, like I had to soak that all in. It was just like when I finally got there, it was so much just seeing everybody there, like having a great time, like the excitement when like the matches were happening. It was just such an experience. But like I was so shell shocked and like starstruck. I didn't talk to anybody.
You know,
Um,
what's
oh,
crazy about that is that's a very relatable experience. I think for a lot of newbies, especially when they're women too, right? And like they sort of like come from like groups that they don't really feel a part of because they haven't really found the groups that they could feel part of, right? And so
mhm.
I know that like when you go to that first event or you go to that first tournament, you're just kind of like, there's this whole other world that you never knew was there in the first place.
Yes, absolutely. Like it's just right. And I'm just lucky enough. I guess the pandemic was good for me in some way
Hmm.
because like those same people that I met or that I've seen in person. over at NLBC, I was able to like get to know some of them through Discord and through like hanging out with them, and that's just been awesome to like, show who I really am, and like so that way for the next time, like I don't have to like, I could just let loose and just be myself. Like that's awesome. That's the one thing about this pandemic that I'm like, all right, I'll let you have this one. Like, yeah.
I mean, with the pandemic, between Discord and like social media, plus even with like trying to get events to an online format, you have access to more people and more like names that you can actually kind of like talk to, kind of like get to know first, and then when instead of going to the next offline. When we come back from the pandemic, it's not of like an overwhelming situation. It's more of like, hey, dude, I haven't seen you. This is my first time seeing you. What is up? That is really amazing. And it's really cool to hear about NLBC. I've heard a lot through them. I'm from South Florida, so we don't really have that particular circuit down here. A lot of us are actually really spaced out. So the few tournaments that we did get to go to, they were offline, and we weren't really able to actually meet up. And so hearing a lot about NLBC and how the New York scene is, it's really awesome to hear that they have such a welcoming kind of community, especially for Soul Calibur. As a woman competitor, you mentioned that you were starstruck and kind of overwhelmed, and it was just like a whole new like experience. What are some of the challenges or stigmas that you've had to face or are you facing, and how have you kind of overcome them? What are some of the things that you say to yourself to overcome them? Can you go a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So I think, you know, I think personally for me, growing up with like, my dad introduced me to video games, right? Like as of like a lot of people, boy or girl, like, usually your dad introduces you to like video games, and like I've had an older brother and like an uncle. Like I watched them play like Soul Calibur 2 like all the time, really, really small. They didn't let me like, just let me win. Like I had to earn my wins. Like I had to practice and all that. So I think just from that experience being small and being in that kind of environment, it's prepared me for like dealing with some of these issues. Um, there are still times where I do get a little nervous. Like for a long time, like people didn't know I was a girl. Like they saw Indenyal and then thought like, oh, it's a dude. Um, so I don't think they really thought anything about it. It wasn't until like the Queen of the Ring tournament,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like Boom's tournament, where they were like, oh, wait a minute. Like some people started realizing, oh, she's a girl. Like it, so that was it was a little nerve wracking because once they find out, there's like stories of like
Mm-hmm.
guys then like going in DMs like, oh hey,
Yeah, and Twitch
what's
chat
up,
like
like
coming
right, and
in.
like
Yeah.
trying to like you know put themselves on you, and it's like, no, I'm just here to like enjoy the game like anyone else. Like thankfully I've never had any of those just issues so far.
That's
um
good.
but I think after that tournament, um and experiencing that, like I once people just knew who I was just kind of like, I'm not gonna hide who I am. Like this is who I am. Hi. um Show them what I'm made of, and just roll with it. Like you don't like me, you don't like me, that's fine. Yeah, just I don't I just I've dealt with it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think just growing up playing with like my dad and all that and being in that kind of setting just prepared me for this. So I think
Yeah.
just yeah, I think I can feel pretty confident in myself now. Like just going through everything, I think I still feel some fears. Like
Mm-hmm.
uh I'm not too sure if you know about like the Boominati league. I was
Is that the 2v2 that happens on Mondays? I believe I heard like Apple Boom. Or you were the captain. It was Clyde actually.
yes.
First week I remember he mentioned it, that he was your partner and that you were the captain of the team.
Yes. So the Boominati league is like, people in Caliber like gather together, like captains are chosen, and then they get to choose their teams, and then like they get to compete. So like like a league, like think
Mm-hmm.
like football or something like that. Um, So it was season 2. I competed in the first one, but for the second one, Boom came to me personally and asked if I wanted to be captain, and I realized like, oh my goodness, I'm the only female captain
Oh my
out
goodness.
of
Well,
everybody. I was the only.
congratulations for that.
Thank
Like
you.
that's
Yes.
huge.
Um, but yeah, I was nervous because I'm like, oh no, like there's so many like great players, and then there's me, and then but then I realized like, I'm never gonna get this chance again. Let's just see how it goes. Like, and I had a great time. Like I just was myself. I just you know try to be like interactive. Be a good. Try to be the like I thought that was really important. So I just did my best, made myself available, and I had a great time. Like if there's a season 3, I'd love to be captain again. Like I'm not going anywhere. So yeah, um, I think it was just taking a chance. Really, I think that's really how I overcame them. Just taking a chance and like seeing where it goes and making the best with what I have. All you
A-
can do.
Absolutely. I think one again, congratulations on being captain. I know how like stressful it can get, especially when you kind of have like when you're kind of trying to compete and you're kind of trying to take all of like I like to call them like social pressure. It's like trying to like
Oh,
take like
absolutely.
just like try to shed them off because you're already dealing with
Right.
tournament pressure, right? When you're competing, you're obviously trying to be like, okay, I gotta make sure I'm going up against this really tough opponent. What do I need to look out for? The last thing you really need to think about is all of
Oh,
those like social pressures and just kind of
ab
like,
absolutely.
yeah,
Like, especially when it comes to certain situations. Like, right? I feel like, sometimes, you lose. If you lose a match and, Show Caliber netcode isn't exactly the best, I think we all rage and like people getting mad and salty and right. And I felt like when there were situations where I got mad, I felt like I can't be salty or I gotta hold an image because right, I'm the only female captain, and the last thing I need is like, oh, a girl freaking out over this, that, and the other. Like, wow,
yeah.
right? I just felt like that pressure to like uphold, since I'm the first one
You kind of have to like set the
to
standard.
uphold like a certain image. But then,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely, it was just like nerve wracking because it's like I'm so mad, but like I'm trying to be a bigger person. I'm trying to, it's bigger than me. But then after a while, I realized like I'm just as capable and willing as like everyone else. Like I'm just as deserving. So I shouldn't be treated any differently. Like after some time, I was just like, all right, look, I could feel the same way you can. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender I am. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very
yeah.
inspiring to actually really see. I know you mentioned before that being around your dad and your brother and your uncles and basically your family kind of helped you prepare yourself for kind of having that tough skin. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of don't really realize when they go out and they're competing, that you really need to have that tough skin, because at the end of the day,
Oh,
the only person you're gonna have the only person you're gonna have control of is yourself, right? So you kind of have to like be prepared and hearing you and understanding like both sides, like you're nervous, but you're also like you've been preparing for this. It's just a really inspiring thing to hear, especially as a fellow competitor too. So that's really amazing. You wanted to say something, by the way?
uh, honestly, just with like, yeah, like having, a thick skin that's kind of important. And I know maybe not a lot of girls like have that, not because like, they don't choose to or anything. It's just like, different circumstances and everything. Like maybe they don't have like a family that understands, like video games or like what's that about, right? Or, having that kind of support system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe. maybe they're the only one that likes video games in their family, and like, they have to figure out that confidence on their own. I'm sure that's like nerve-wracking. Like, I'm really fortunate to just have my own support system, and like that I was able to build that kind of thicker skin. Um so I think for people that are struggling, or like girls that are struggling or feel nervous, I feel like just, take a chance, because I think, yeah, you're worth it. Like, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You're worth it, you know?
Your thought process when you're competing, because again, there's been moments where you've been super calm after maybe like a lost set, and you just come back swinging, like that grand finals reset that you did in this last in the second qualifier. So what is kind of like that mental process, or like that mental mantra that you kind of give to yourself, so that you can kind of keep cool, keep calm, and just basically keep gaming on?
So throughout the whole process, believe it or not, that tournament, it's the first time I've ever done a grand finals reset. Like, ever. It was my
What?
first time experiencing it, and my first time doing it. It was the most nerve-wracking. Oh, I have to stay calm, right? Because it's not over yet. Like, it's never over till it's over. But trust me when I say I was completely nervous the entire time. I was just like, oh wow, I got sent down a lot earlier than I thought. Um, but I still had like one more life left, so I didn't want to let that get in the way. I had to compose myself, and just, like, play it through, see where I went, give it my best. And I think the more it went on and the closer I got to it, the more I was like, nah, I think I could do this. I know I can do this, and like, I'm gonna give it the best I got. Like, if I'm going down, I'm going down swinging. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
just that whole time, I just wanted to put on a show, do the best I can, and see where that got me. And uh, I'm really happy with the result.
I'm sh-
Obviously.
I'm honestly happy for you. Like I said,
Oh, thank you so
I
much.
saw you week one. You were killing it. You had the same situation, and then I saw like the bracket, right? Because I'm backstage and I'm like trying to get everybody put together, and getting them on the stream. And I saw you got knocked down into that lower bracket, and I'm like, she's gonna make it back. She's gonna do it. And then as soon as I see grand finals, I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be. I remember telling my graphics person, I'm like, it's gonna go game 5, final round, I promise you. And literally, as I'm seeing the match play out, I'm like, this is a game 5, final round. This is not gonna be easy for anyone.
Oh,
Oh.
it really was like, I really had to stay focused if I to like reset it, and then to win it. Like, that was really, I had to focus. Like, that was not easy at all.
How is like your stamina throughout everything? Because I'm sure that was also something really important, right? Because obviously you were going game after game. I remember even telling you, "Hey, do you need like a 5 minute break? I got you."
Oh yes, there was like one moment where like, okay, I definitely need a break. But I usually, like, if I'm usually when I'm nervous, I have to deal with it. I have to, like, like, get through it, like, because the nerves are really like constricting,
Mhm.
like they're like really suffocating, and it's like, no, I just gotta get through it. I just gotta remember remember what I practiced, remember what I trained, whatever what I went over, like all the labbing, like put this into practice and just see where it goes, right? And so I spent the day, mentally preparing. I had my water on the side, took
Nice.
deep breaths, like, did a little exercise to get the heart pumping so I could focus more, that. So that really was just, and then coupled on top of the fact that, like, I love Caliber, so, I play like hours and hours and hours of this game, or just so Caliber in general. So, I'm used to playing a lot. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, I think it was just once, if the nerves got too much, I took that quick break, but, I was just happy to get to it.
that's awesome. I know we already kind of went over how like the pandemic has impacted you personally, especially, in a way it's kind of like helped you since you've been able to kind of get to know more people, and kind of like take the offline experience a little slower than what would like normally happen when there is no pandemic. But I do want to like just touch on like what are some of the challenges that you feel like could be solved. For example, like the net code, tournament wise, like what do you feel as a competitor could help make the online experience a little bit better for a lot of the Soul Calibur players and in the FGC in general?
To make it better, I think honestly, I feel like it's just like, community effort. Like, if there's one thing I know from like being in the Caliber community, like being really intertwined with it for like a year, it's just like we all support each other. Like the Caliber community is like a really tight knit community. Like we're all trying to support each other. We all love Caliber. We all like put up tech, and support each other and call each other out when we're doing something wrong. I feel like it's a really supportive community. So I think just having that is like one big thing. I think another one is just like it's unfortunate like that we're in this situation with like the pandemic and that we can't travel or we can't compete like so Caliber 6 had like a world invitational
Mm-hmm.
like Tekkei's invitational and we were like so excited. I was super excited when that was announced, and then because of the pandemic it got canceled. So Caliber's like momentum kind of got shafted a little bit, and now we're kind of like in this limbo of like, are we gonna get one again? Will we get a season 3? Will our netcode be fixed? I feel like the best thing we could really do is just accept the circumstances we're in and try to make the best of it.
Yeah.
um like I think just sticking to like the guidelines, staying healthy, 6 feet apart, mask. Vaccines are starting to be given out, so just getting it as soon as possible, and doing your part to like help online come out faster. That could be one way. But I guess in the meantime it's just planning like ideas, maybe uh hopefully getting Caliber out there so that maybe other like gaming companies can see like what we're doing, like what kind of community we're in, and maybe they could invest in us, and then that way we have like more prizes and more incentive to join. um or bring more time to have the community together. I think it's really just we have to stick together, right? Because we kind of only have ourselves now. Like while we're waiting in limbo whether or not we're getting like the season 3, like we really only have each other, so we have to like work together and like figure out new ideas to make events exciting and all that. I think if we stick together, I think things will be all right, you know.
Absolutely, and I think that's really important, just for every community, gaming community wise. You're online. Don't let it just because you're online, let it kind of like poof out, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
make sure you stick together. Work with what you got. If you have that struggle of a netcode, so let's see how we can try to make it better. I've heard Parsec helps make things better. Investing in it a little bit, investing in each other is also a huge thing. Talking about each other as well. Um, with that being said, you obviously you've been participated in these past two Queen of the Hill series qualifiers, and you won that second one. What have you enjoyed so far, and what did you expect before coming in, and what do you expect or how were those expectations kind of met if they were met for Queen of the Hill?
I think I've enjoyed how like all like the female players in Caliber are like gathered in like one space. Like some ones that
Mm-hmm.
like Amy Lionheart, Apple Bloom, like the big names, right? And then but also just seeing like girls you're not too familiar with, like, oh wow, like who is this, like who's this newcomer, like oh they're really great at this character. I think it's just great to gather like people of all different types of skill levels and like going at it. I think it's just super enjoyable to watch. And then also just how like the community has gathered to enjoy this event, to like give them like, hey, there are like great female caliber players. I think just like giving them a spotlight. I think it's amazing. uh I think it's just really great. I think Queen of the Hill series has like great like quality of production. Like there's clearly a lot of effort being put into making the visuals great and to making sure like the crowd is entertained, having great commentators. I think there's just a lot of effort being put into it, and I'm having a great time so far.
That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear. Um, one of the things I wanted to mention too to you is we do have a couple of viewers who are new to fighting games and to Soul Calibur itself. And they're actually looking at you and the other competitors as a form of like inspiration. What are your thoughts about that? Can you give them some tips to kind of help with their own journey? And is there anything that you can like kind of tell them that can be like motivation or inspiration to those ladies and to those new players as well?
Wow. Honestly, just being seen as an inspiration, or like the idea of being seen as an inspiration in general, is just so mind blowing to me. Like, I'm really humbled that like people look to me like, or if people are looking at me like in that kind of way. I think that's just it's really humbling, and I feel really blessed. So I'm really thankful for that. And I guess some tips, just reach out, be like, hi, I'm like kind of new to this character. I'm not too sure what to do with them or like how they work. There are character discords for specific characters, like frame data, combo tips on YouTube. Just reaching out in Twitch chat. I'm sure just reaching out to like someone who's playing Caliber and being like, hey, I'm not too sure where to start. I'm sure that'd be like they give you some advice, or like you maybe meet some people there that are like, hey, here's like a document that gives you all the frame data, or like here's like a invite to the character Discord. I think just reaching out, and for ladies who are just starting out, just take it slow. There's no rush, right? Go at your own pace, and have fun. Like, you deserve to be there just as anyone else. Like, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Like, just do it.
Yeah. Just go out there and just do it. I'm sorry, I had to.
Yeah, no worries.
So with that being said, we're coming close to the end of our interview. Go ahead and shout out yourself. Shout out your socials if you stream. And yeah.
So I don't really stream. I kind of feature in some streams, like Father Ramon stream or AO Boom streams. Like sometimes I appear as like a guest if we're like playing different games. So you could just watch those and look out. I'm always in their Twitch chats as well, so just feel free to say hi. It's Indenyal on Twitch. It's also Indenyal on Twitter. Just reach out and say hi. And great, yeah, I look forward to speaking with all of you, meeting all of you, showing off more Cassandra gameplay. Gotta represent my girl,
Absolutely.
Yeah, can't wait. I'll see you all at the finals.
We'll be seeing you at the finale. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.